Hi everyone, welcome back. In case you missed our first two videos, this is Dr. Les Prins, and he's talking to us about muscle testing as it applies to your health. And this particular series we're doing is around the rotator cuff and how you could test for the rotator cuff. So far I've been contortioned in a very gentle way that really did eliminate my fear of what it would be to do muscle testing. So we're going to finish the process of testing my rotator cuff, right? Okay, good. All right, so what are we doing now?
So now you've been waiting with bated breath to find the other half of your rotator cuff.
I have been.
So we're going to test two more muscles, and that'll complete the rotator cuff test. So notice that I position you in various specific positions so that I can get the best test out of the individual muscle. I'm trying to isolate the muscle so I don't get other muscles involved in the test as best as we can do.
Oh, okay.
So,
like it might be my neck or it might be something else.
Well, then we can go test those muscles, but we don't want to have other muscles as little as possible involved in what we're trying to do.
That makes sense.
Right?
That's good.
So if I take the arm out at elbow height and I try to pull your forearm forward and you hold it and resist right there, don't let me pull it forward.
Okay.
Ready? Here we go. And notice I'm not touching your elbow because if you had a problem there, that might show up with might make the muscle look like it's weak even though it wasn't. So at this point I know, and that locked nice and it was quick, and I know that the muscle locked, so I know that's not an issue.
So far so good.
So far so good. So and now the other thing, in this almost same position, I'm going to push your forearm backwards and I'll support over here on the upper part of your arm, and don't let me push backwards.
Okay.
And so now I know that that muscle is in good shape too. So we know your rotator is intact and we don't suspect any kind of tear in that joint.
That's great.
At least with those four muscles.
So you tested it down this way, everywhere that the rotator cuff actually moves.
Right.
That's brilliant.
Right. And so without going into the anatomy of where those muscles are, we have a pretty good idea now that that rotator cuff is not an issue with the shoulder per se. At least if it was minor, you're going to heal on your own. If it was more major, more than likely one of those muscles would show weak or combinations of them. And I would then have to recommend an MRI to see how bad the tear was, and then possible orthopedic consult
Good.
to continue that.
Perfect. So you can bring in many different practices and modalities to really have a whole balanced whole health.
Correct. We have to make referrals when they're appropriate.
Brilliant. We love doctors like this. Okay, stay tuned for our next video on how to do muscle testing for your health.